From the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today, I'm very pleased to have a friend of mine that now we know each other for quite some time. Lee, thank you very much for being on the show today. The way I like to do it, I like to keep it to the guests to introduce themselves and what they do. So welcome to the show. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Mehmet. Great to be here. It's Lee Pillay, Chief Business Development Officer at Roix Technologies. Effectively, Roix has been in the space for the past 10 years insofar as mobile application, website, and e-commerce development as our forte, so to speak. And yes, there's certainly much that we've been doing, much that we've been progressing from a product development standpoint, and really keen to talk about 3DX, which is a launch on our side. It's revolutionizing the way in which we experience websites. So yeah, really keen, and thanks again, Mehmet, for having me on the show.
Most welcome, Lee, and thank you for being here also as well. I'm excited to learn and get to know more about the work that you have done. I know that I've seen it before, but I'm sure for the listeners, guys, like if you tune later when the times comes to the YouTube, I think you will get better experience of what Lee will show us. But first, let's start from this point, Lee. Like websites have been for long time since early 90s, I would say. And of course, the role of a website evolved over time. Now, I want you to take us like in a journey in history. So maybe the young generations, they don't remember everything. So, but take us, how the concept of a website evolved since, it started and where we are going today.
Absolutely. So as you rightfully said, it was the early 90s. So more than about 32 years ago is when we saw the first website coming up. And effectively, it's really on a static basis with the idea to provide information from an internet perspective. And that has actually not seen significant evolution over time. What you would notice is, as we all know, a website is a sort of a 2D way in which you would see information. There's certainly been over time the ability to add certain elements to these websites, such as photos, videos, and the ability to link to particular spaces. But from an experience point of view, we still seeing it as though you would see a piece of paper, right? So you would just see it from a two-dimensional experience, and effectively you would be able to navigate in different ways. So websites have become more intuitive in terms of the way in which you would have these menus, the way in which you can navigate. And as I say, something that's been more recent, the ability to understand an organization from a video perspective. But once again, just watching something that's static in terms of what's on the actual screen. So that has evolved, as I say, to the point at which we've got to just seeing websites on that two-dimensional view. But what we're now talking about is a three-dimensional view of a website. So if you can think of, as I mentioned, a piece of paper versus a house, from a house perspective, you can go in, you can experience more, you can see more, and you can understand more. So it becomes much more immersive. So that's how, from a history perspective, we saw the evolution go. And this is where we are, where we see the need to experience an organization in a better way. And therefore, revolutionizing the way in which a website is delivered.
That's greatly. It's spot on. Now, before I go into the 3DX, just want to like kind of a in a friendly chat as I usually do. Now, before we go to the 3DX, we need also Lee to remind, I think, organizations and even, by the way, even individuals on the importance of actually having a website. Because sometimes we go today, and we meet someone and we say, hey, what's your company website? Or, for example, they give you a business card and then you figure out that they don't have a website. And I'm asking you this question because part of what I like to do on the show is also to inspire businesses from all sizes, but actually the closest to my heart is the small, medium businesses. So why it is important in the first place to have a website?
Absolutely. That's such an important question. So it's twofold, right? To keep it simplistic. On the one hand, it is there to provide information on your particular business. Ultimately, we are in a space where it's the digital era. It's the ability to navigate online because most users spend a vast majority of the day online. And therefore, it becomes the easiest way to get the understanding of an organization, who they are, what are the products and services offered, what's the specific value propositions, their unique selling points, as well as, understanding the vision of that particular organization. So it really provides a platform to communicate, and the manner in which the website is created um, ultimately would also enable them to understand the information in the easiest way possible, as well as the ability to navigate through a good user experience. So on the other side of it, it is a space of credibility, right?
Mhm.
So the as you mentioned, when you meet someone, you get the business card, you have a conversation, but one of the first things you would do as well is go onto the website. So when you see that there's actually no website that's available or something that does not look appealing in any way, um, affects the credibility of that particular individual or organization. So I would say from a simplistic point of view, it's about credibility and it's about communication of what that organization has to offer.
100%. And if you allow me, Lee, to add something also here,
Sure.
um, because when think about it, if someone asks you about, and I mentioned this with a previous episode with Chris, where we discussed like things related to websites, but more about how to optimize and secure them. But anyway, the example I gave, and I'm repeating it again, if you are a first time listener or viewer, like think if someone asks you, hey, what's your name? And you tell him, hey, my name is Mehmet. Okay, can you give me your ID? Right. So the website becomes like an identity for the brand, for your brand. So if you tell me I work for company, I cannot say X anymore because X is Twitter. So if you work for company Y and you
Yeah.
tell me, okay, okay, fine, let me go and Google you, right? So why? And I don't find you. So for me, like I think about it from a consumer perspective. Who's this guy? Like he worked for a company called Y. I don't see it on the net. They don't have even a website. So this is why, I see website is a must have and the bare minimum. And of course, we can talk about it also maybe later, like it's not only about having the presence, it's also about giving the experience. And this is where I want to ask you, Lee. Now we are used to websites, we see all these nice effects. It used to be Adobe Flash back in the days, then JavaScript slowly replaced all this, and we have these nice templates and libraries that give you this. But you mentioned something, it's like a 2D. So 2D, basically I think about it as you said, as a paper. Now, tell me more, as at Rex, like what you did with this uh, 3DX, concept. What you can tell us about it?
Sure, absolutely. So it's starting with the fact that we've been doing websites for clients for the better part of 10 years, with experience even going beyond that, and effectively it's the fact that you need to provide more. You need to stand out more. You need to provide a better experience to clients that are coming on, having a look at your solutions. So how do you get there? How do you get to providing something different? And the concept of 3DX came about where we're talking three-dimensional experience. We're talking about being able to experience an organization, what the services, what the theme, what the even culture has to offer based on going in and not just seeing it on a 2D version, but being able to walk about and look at it. Even the actual offices can be designed so that a user can go in and see what the offices have to offer from a virtual perspective. So you can now go and see it.
So I think you have something that you can show us. So if you are listening, guys, I advise you to go see the episode on YouTube. So let's see what exactly Lee meant by 3DX. So if you can walk us through, Lee.
Sure. So what you're now seeing is the 3DX version of a ROIX website. Effectively, we now have a building. You have an avatar that you can now move, walk, and you can interact. So there are other users that can be in that space. You have the ability to talk. You can actually interact in such a way that maybe there's an item, you can pass it from one person to another. As you would see, there's the ability to have a receptionist that can provide a voice prompt on information about Royex. And again, thinking about the actual website, the different sort of menu items that you would have is effectively your entire organization. So therefore, you have the ability to go in, have a landing page as you would, which is your actual company, and then start navigating towards maybe it's a client's portfolio. Maybe you want to have a look at what that particular portfolio had to offer, and you can now understand it in a much, much different way. So the way in which you can interact, obviously, as you can see, the kinds of background for can be further adjusted. Obviously, Roix is situated in Dubai, so that's why you would see the Dubai background as well. And here you would see a conference center that's available with information about some of Roix solutions that are playing on the screen. So you can incorporate certain video. You can have the ability to go in, take a seat, and understand, interact, and then learn more. So these are just some of the elements that are available insofar as a 3DX website that can be created. I think let me just stop it at that point because video is certainly available to watch further on the ROIX channel, so you can understand much more.
That's really great, Lee. Like as I was saying, guys, if you are listening, I advise you to go and watch the episode on the YouTube. Um, so let me ask you first. This will, you mentioned something. This eliminates actually the need to have multiple pages and all this. So basically, from navigation perspective, it becomes easier for me to find because I seen and the guys will be able to see. There are some guidance there if you want to go to the portfolio. So the portfolio actually is in front of you. If you want to go talk to someone, which is equivalent, to the contact us on a traditional website. So how long does it take to design this, Ali? How long it
Okay.
would take?
Sure. So look, this would be from case to case, right? So dependent on the type of organization, dependent on what it is that you'd like to showcase, the design can definitely, go in from a month to more, just dependent on, what is the scale of what needs to be created. I'll give you another example of a use
Sure.
case. You can have um, a shop, if you think of a clock, a designer clock shop as an example. Now, if you walk into that store or if you go into the website, number one, from a physical perspective, you can only see so much because they would not be able to have the entire portfolio available to display, right? And number two, from a website perspective, you would need to then start browsing page by page to get it
Right.
understand, but again, seeing it from a two-dimensional perspective. What you would then be able to do here is be able to have an entire hall like we saw there, where you can have all of these different elements or products available, which can be designed and featured in the space.
Lee, just out of curiosity, is there any, because in that video I've seen like someone wearing the AR headset. So is there anything that can integrate with AR VR kind of you know equipment?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's good that you picked that up. So yes, you can certainly utilize the Oculus Vision Pro, to move around and experience it within that sort of space. So it gives you the ability. And I think just to mention, because I haven't mentioned it before, what you have just seen is a web-based view, right? So meaning you are purely going onto the website. There's no need to download anything to access
Mm.
it. You're going in straight and you're then experiencing all of that. Then you can have the other kinds of experiences, which is now the Oculus or any other type of unit that gives you a different virtual sort of more immersive experience.
Lee, out of curiosity also as well, um, I've seen, like there was like the ability when, there was someone, you let the avatar sit and then, so like, can I think about it in a way like similar if when I go to a shop and they tell me, hey, sit sir down, I'm gonna go bring all our models to you. Or if maybe if I'm visiting a factory, hey, I'm gonna bring all the samples to you. Is it something similar?
Yeah, so it can definitely extend to that space. Remember, as I said, the ability to interact is there. So an organization can have their individuals that can start interacting with those that are entering the space, and you can now display certain things. You can start creating certain types of models and produce that and have a much more robust conversation around what the organization actually has to offer.
So this brings me to this next question, Lee. Like, which kind of organizations will benefit from this technology? Like, is there any specific vertical you can think about more than the other? If someone may be interested.
Sure. I think that's an interesting one because this certainly cuts across all verticals. Um, if we think about it, every organization in every vertical will have a website, right? So
Mhm.
therefore, there's the ability to create this type of experience, and it then gets into the space of who they want to access their websites. Which the same question would be, how important is that experience to that particular organization? So the more important the experience is, the more important it is to provide a better experience, and therefore a 3DX experience. In terms of particular verticals, this can extend uh, to the hospitality space because you're
Mhm.
providing certain types of elements that you really want your users to understand, and it extends even to the product space as well, where you can provide more insights and articulate your products in a different way as well. So I think it really cuts across multiple different verticals, but I think that gives sort of an indication of where maybe some of which you wants to take on or be an early adopter in the space can definitely move.
And does it have to be, Lee, also out of curiosity? Like when you design it to customers, do you design it in a way that really, I would say, clone the real physical office or place or factory, whatever? Or like, you can be creative there. Like how you do it usually?
Sure. So you can certainly be creative. Okay. So there's two ways in which you can be creative. One is the actual building and the way that that is designed, and then secondly the types of offices inside. So what you would notice, I mean, when you had that user walking up to the receptionist, the backboard which outlines the map That's exactly what, when you walk into our offices, that is exactly what you would experience. So there's certain elements in which you can really get that directly on, and there's the ability to completely design it in that way, provided we would work hand in hand with that particular client to get it in the best way possible.
That's greatly. And now while you are speaking, I have a lot of use cases in my head. So, for example, think if you are a restaurant owner and you want to give your customers maybe the look and feel of how your seatings looks like before they come, so you can show it, so you can simulate someone sit, on the table. What will be the view for them? Same for hotels, as you mentioned. I can see maybe even malls. They can do this factories, like the use cases are endless, I would say. Um, and let me ask you, Lee, and if you allow me, like I like to be like, very open.
Sure.
How emerging is this? Yeah, I mean, this technology is it like something that we you offering uniquely now, or is it something like on the long run you would see more people will go and do it?
Yeah, so that's a very important question. So this ties in with future trends. So Rights obviously prides itself on being ahead of the curve. So this is something that's been recently launched. But if we look at the trends of what is happening, there's a need to engage with clients in a much more different manner. Ultimately, to provide the kinds of insights, to get them to be as close to what the essence of that particular organization has to offer. So what we'll see is that there's a continual need to evolve, to differentiate. And with that being said, that is where we will see this particular experience being more and more sort of prevalent in different markets, in different spaces. You will have the early adopter sort of industries that would take it on, and then you would find that it would get into the mainstream market as that continues down the line.
This is, I think, is very true because maybe the audience, if they go one or two episodes back, um, we were talking with Pete Sena about the future trends, and one of the things that he mentioned to me is he said we are living now in a kind of a hybrid world where we have, still the reality and we have the virtual reality. And he was mentioning, he said, I think in the future it will be all about what you just showcased to us, Lee. So
Mhm.
the norm will become like same as, um, we used to still we do it. And I don't know why, but still we print these brochures and these catalogs. And now, I'm not now. Back in the days, the internet started to change this, so people start to put that there. I believe, this technology, the 3DX technology, will become the norm also as well because people want to interact. People they don't like to see static things anymore.
Mm,
And the big, if you ask me how you are saying this without any studies, I don't need to do studies because look, anything that has video kind and yours have video, of course, like it's kind of a video experience, right? Visual, audio visual, let's say.
sure.
And like look, any application that has, video or audio visual experience, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, these kinds of things, people get hooked. And I think this is where, customers, they can think about it, or I mean, businesses, they can think about it as a hooking uh, method for their customers. So excited for you, Lee, about this launch. And I think it's already live, something you can offer today, right?
Yes, absolutely. No, thanks for that. I think that also summed it up quite well. So as you rightfully mentioned, it's just the understanding and perspective that you'll have when you see this, because what you've just witnessed is a an application of how we implemented it for the ROIX side of it. But
Mm-hmm.
each and every client can have something that they would want to showcase in a different way. Therefore,
Right.
you don't need to contain the perspective to just, okay, it's a building and that's just it. You can look at it as ultimately the experience that you want to create for your clients, which you cannot generally do with a traditional website. And now you can do it with 3DX.
That's great. So as we come almost to the end, Lee, where people can find more about your company?
Sure. So they can certainly reach out to Roix Technologies. They can find us online. They can certainly reach out to me directly as well if they want some more information on this. Lee@roix.net. And certainly we can post some further information in terms of contact when the show goes out.
Sure, they all will be in the show notes of the episode. Anything that you wished I asked you, Lee, and how you would answer it?
Sorry, just one more time there, Mehmet.
Is there any question that you wish that I had asked you?
Yeah, any questions? So no, I think we've sufficiently covered it. And thanks so much, Mehmet, for having me on the show. It's really, really been great. The show has been doing tremendously well. So hats off to you. And I look forward to seeing this grow from strength to strength.
Thank you very much, Lee. I appreciate your time today. I know, guys, after the lunch, you were very, very busy. But when actually, this is for the audience. When Lee showed to me, I said, you need to be on the show. Like, people need to know about this technology. I'm very excited about it as well. And as usual, guys, like, if you have any questions, any feedback, of course, the contact of Lee, how you can reach to Royex, it also will be in the show notes, as I mentioned. But if you have any feedback, don't hesitate, reach out to me. If you also want to be on the show, same as Lee was today, a guest, don't be shy. Reach out to me and we will do the arrangement. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you again very soon. Thank you very much and bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.